vector spaces and testing sets to see if they are vector spaces. Oh geez, whenever I see math faculty members and I'm in front, it's usually me proving something. So it's an old habit that must die today, since I will be going to medical school. But today I was asked, I think this week or last week, to speak today, and I'm an introvert, so I do not like speaking. I don't like standing in front of people, but I will do my best to speak about my experiences as much as I possibly can. And I would say that COVID played a very big role in my journey in the mathematical journey, in the sense that I will be among the fewest people that will be able to say that I've been in college before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. And that says a lot, especially with how information was given to us within the math department. So a little backstory about myself. I actually enrolled into UNCG as a computer science major. So it wasn't until I had a conversation with one of my advisors in high school that I was told, you know what, you like math, why don't you go out and try it a little bit? I was like, okay, you know what, I could try it. But they should have told me that it wasn't just simple computation and maybe complex equations. That is what I thought math was. And so I came and said, you know what, I'm really good at solving math. I would definitely love a degree. That's not what happened. And I had to find out the hard way. And this was during COVID. But prior to COVID, my confidence in math was still there. I was taking Calc 1 in my first semester and then Calc 2 in the second semester. So I was really confident, you know, in seeing differentiation and integration. So it was very easy for me to say, you know what, I had this. Well, COVID came, and that was the second semester of my first year. And, you know, if you've been in college before, you know your first year is when you're trying to discover yourself. And I was there still trying to figure things out with a lot of complications. I had a job. We went into lockdown, and it was difficult because I could see from the way materials were given in the first semester in lockdown was way different compared to the second semester in lockdown. So we could see professors uploading videos that were like 3 hours long, and I'm like, okay, I have to sit down for a video that is 3 hours long. But we got through that, and then linear algebra and abstract algebra came. Oh my goodness, there is so many letters, no numbers. What happened to the numbers? Suddenly, I'm not solving anymore. I'm like, okay. And we had to start making our own proofs. In high school, you know, your professor may, well, your teacher may have spoken about some kind of proof, but that was for him and if he wanted to do that. But it was my turn, and I didn't want to do it. I really did not want to do it. I couldn't understand anything. I remember discrete math was the first class, actually, that I'd seen was asked to prove something, and it was very confusing. I didn't know what variables, you're used to X and Y, but I was in a situation where, okay, what am I doing? And it was very confusing in the sense that, you know, I'm a pre-med student, so my focus wasn't really towards my math classes, but then I was faced with the question of, do you want to have a good GPA, or would you want to continue saying, well, I'm not good at these classes and fail? So I had to now apply myself. So here I go into discrete math, really applying myself. Vector spaces, words like the word vector space was so confusing because I was like, why are you saying space? Like, what exactly is this thing you're calling a space? So for my own sanity, I started saying vector sets. And I would imagine arrows in the air because you keep saying spaces. I'm a very visual learner, so words associated with pictures in my head. And then I had to also learn that it wasn't just arrows, the way vectors are represented in physics, they're actually multi-dimensional vectors. I was like, okay, show me a picture. And then I remember Dr. Igor saying that we don't have pictures for everything. And that was hard. It was really hard for me. I always have pictures for something. No more pictures. Okay, fine. Well, linear algebra really did help with understanding variables, and then I saw Calc 4. Why is there multivariables in the calculus class when calculus is already hard? I did not know, but I was definitely going to commit to it, and I did. And I got to see a lot of stuff. So I learned very fast that math is not just being the smart person in front with the marker and solving all kinds of things. It's also using your brain concepts that you have to use tons of concepts. And one thing I hated about being in class, in math class, is that I knew a simple way of doing stuff, but I couldn't use the simple way because we hadn't yet gotten to that section yet. So I had to learn to use materials within the section, and to that point I was like, okay, fine. I will learn the way they want me to learn. And then I saw induction and strong induction. I just hated it some more. Thank goodness we did not do too much induction. But as I told Maya, I think sometime this week, I'm a pro in my contradiction. Like, I can contradict anything. I should be a lawyer, but I'm really good at my contradiction. But one thing I love about the math department, at least being a student in a math class, is the way the teachers would make you feel in the class. So I know a lot of teachers have been faced with, students saying, I know this is a dumb question, and that was me very much. I used to think my questions were dumb. But then you'd hear professors say stuff like, no, that's not a dumb question, and I truly believe another student is thinking the same thing. So it's very easy to just ask questions, and that's something that's a big deal, because you could be in class like really struggling with something so simple, and because you didn't ask the question, you go home and you start struggling with it. So because we had that space where your professor wouldn't go like, really, is that the question you want to ask? And they turn to you like, thank you for asking that question. It was really easy for me to be comfortable in different math classes. Another thing is office hours. I am a very independent learner, so I wasn't a big fan of office hours until Dr. Talia, I know she's not here, made it mandatory that we showed up for office hours. She made sure we showed up twice. If you did not show up, you'd fail the class. So I did show up. She saved my class. She really did. I did not fail that class because she made that decision to make it mandatory. And I really like that every single professor I had was very available for office hours. And I don't think you understand how important that is. Just knowing that there's someone there that you could go to and ask questions is really something that's we do appreciate as students. Let me think of something else that my phone is off, so I'm trying to be very professional. I'm not going to look at my notes. So I love every single professor that I had, and many of you are in this room today, like right now. And one thing I got from all of you is just the kindness, and that's something I wasn't really able to mingle with the math department because I was a pre-med student, so I really did spend a lot of time trying to work towards getting into medical student. But medical school, thank you, Bernie, for fixing that. But something I did learn from just this little encounters that I did have with various professors is that the kindness goes a very long way. It made it very easy for me to open up about different things, and I remember just having to speak about personal things with my professors, and that's also something that, as a student, makes it really easy for me to even be comfortable in your class, because then I'm building this personal connection with you, which you do not expect from professors who are teaching in a field that's very intimidating. You expect them to be very snobby and, why you asking me such simple questions when you have a textbook. But thank goodness I didn't have any professor like that, so I'm grateful also. But post-COVID was great. Post-COVID was really great because then we of course, we had the awkward moment of having to wear masks in class, and no one was speaking. I was one of them. At least I was always in the front, so I did nod a lot. I was a very big nodder, so everyone could see me then, I'm paying attention. But being back on campus helped me because Zoom was terrible. Zoom was terrible in the sense that you were really afraid to ask questions. It's not that we didn't want to speak, we were really afraid to ask questions. But once you got back on campus and you got to see just the mannerisms of your professor. It made it more comfortable just to open up. So I do appreciate that we came back, though some classes decided to keep the videos and the lecture time, so we did do a lot of work, but that's okay. It all benefited us at the end. But yeah, I haven't eaten since yesterday, so I'm going to cut this speech very, very short. And just want to thank you all for kindness in the math department. I know that's like something that I highly noted when it comes to all the professors that I came across. You made it very easy for us to engage, even though some people do not engage. That is not your fault. But it's much easier knowing that you can open up to people and that they're not going to criticize you. Math is a very intimidating subject, especially when you're new to stuff like proofs. And it may seem simple once you've taken, once you're done with abstract algebra, and you're done with linear algebra, and you're done with all the other, like row analysis. It may become much easier for you to look back and say, oh, that was actually very easy. Why was I not getting that? But in the moment, it is not easy to understand. And once you have a professor who can, turn to you and say, listen, let's take this step by step. What does this mean? And they're not giving you answers. They're helping you think through things. And so you have the opportunity to not only have someone guide you as you're thinking, but also to get the solution by yourself. So you're there, and so it's double gratification, so to say. Someone is motivating you emotionally, and there you are making an intellectual progress. That is really great. So I highly appreciate that. I wish I had time to mingle more. Maybe in the future. I will be here all summer, so I may try to mingle some more. But yeah, thank you very much. And also, if you are proving stuff, I learned this very hard, the hard way. If you are proving stuff and you haven't touched your hypotheses, there is a strong chance that your proof is 99.9% wrong. I left the 0.1% out because maybe your professor's trying to be sneaky and just throwing stuff, but they never are. So make sure you touch everything. But thank you very much for this opportunity, and I will be going back to see 10 class. I am so tired. Thank you very much.